Absolutely, absolutely. I think it plays such a big part in your, general well-being and how you get through life. So, as important as physical health is, mental health is I would say maybe in some measure even more important because it permeates, everything that you do. So physical health is like you're taking
Like
care of
fitness.
yourself. You're eating the right things. You're doing staying active, and then depending on physiological factors, genetics, you might have some problems and all that. You take the measures to fix it.
Hi Vinal, how are you?
Hi Sanjana, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to see you as always.
As always, yes.
Great to talk to you.
It's always great to talk to you. So, we connect very well, and we have talked many times about different topics. And I've always wondered, different things like wellness, mental health. So, in your opinion, like what is mental health, and what is it? Is it a real thing, or is it just is it something that we should be aware of? Like, what are your thoughts about it?
Absolutely. I think it plays such a big part in your, general well-being and how you get through life. So, as important as physical health is, mental health is I would say maybe in some measure even more important because it permeates, everything that you do. So physical health is like you're taking
Like
care of
fitness.
yourself. You're eating the right things. You're doing staying active, and then depending on physiological factors, genetics, you might have some problems and all that. You take the measures to fix it, right? So similarly for mental health, I think while growing up, you're generally carefree, right? So you don't realize it so much as you start getting through life, all the different things, the things
The
that you have to
stresses.
manage, the stresses add on. So it becomes important to pay attention to those factors too. So that's general overall, mental health.
So, for example, what you're saying is that it's equally important and or more important. You're saying because that's something you.
Why I would say that is there is a reason to that. I feel that physical, ailments, etc., are usually something that impacts you, and you can work on it. You can take care of it. Of course, your family will support you. But mental health issues, if not taken care of at the right time, and if gone unattended, it severely not only impacts you but your immediate family, your quality of life, everything, right? So I feel like that impact on people around you is much higher in terms of mental health.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay, and also since you're talking about, I was also thinking, for physical health, we have tests, like this cholesterol, there's stress tests and all that, but normally we get it done like yearly examination, right? Like blood tests and those kind of things. Are there any tests, are there any regular tests for mental health too, or is it like,
I don't
you've
know,
never
I
heard
don't
of that,
think
right?
So, yes.
So that's also one more reason, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
if you think about, we getting regular hemoglobin checked or cholesterol checked, but we never get our mind checked, something about
I
it.
guess probably it is because
Yeah.
it's such a complex thing also,
Yeah.
right? It's not something which can be tested, and even the medication, all that. There isn't 100% accuracy in it, saying that, this is exactly what this medicine will do, and it will fix something. It's it could be, and the same medicine, different people react to it differently because your brain itself is such a complex thing, and all mental health issues are related to brain issues and chemicals, neurotransmitters they are called, the chemicals in the brain. We've probably heard of dopamine and serotonin, the most common ones.
Okay.
And those
Alright.
imbalances, the connections, how they flow between different parts of the brain, that is what causes, mental issues. It's not
Issues.
general, now I'm not talking about general wellness, but
Yeah.
actually mental health problems,
Like
yeah.
which have symptoms, right?
Yes,
Which you can see.
which will, the symptoms is the first point, I think. Then you'll see that,
Yeah.
So it is usually noticeable. I mean, the family will know, the person could also start, sometimes maybe the person doesn't realize it
Realize
as much,
himself
but
or herself.
the family will start seeing it, and I've just to give a background,
Yeah.
I have grown up with mental health issues around me in my immediate and extended family. I've seen it since I was a young child, so that's why
So
I've
you've
had some
seen
experience in
first-hand
terms of
experience,
and how it develops and how it impacts family and well-being, everything.
So I've also seen I used to think like in India, mental health is considered more like, chalta hai, baat kar lo iske saath, theek ho jaye. Like it's like a thing where people think it can be treated like ऐसे जैसे घर में घरेलू इलाज से,
Yeah.
So
I
that
think
is,
that is the biggest problem, it's always, especially at that time, I'm talking about my childhood, I saw that it was a taboo topic, right? You were not supposed to talk about it, not tell anybody. And as a result, I've seen both cases in my extended family where people have not wanted to take any treatment because somehow it's considered that the person can manage it or control it. That it's something that if you have willpower, or if somebody tells you, you will don't do this, don't do that, and you will listen, it'll get fixed. But it's not so. Just like if you have diabetes, there is a problem with insulin, right? Or a blood pressure, thyroid. Once you take the medicine, you have to take the medicine to fix it.
To fix
Similarly,
regularly also,
yes,
right?
Similarly, if it is a chemical, imbalance in your mind, it cannot be fixed by just telling somebody don't do this,
Like
or use your willpower to fix it.
Yeah, that is a common thing, especially guide your children or spend time with them and sit with them, but then that's
those factors are there, I guess even in mental health, that also has a number of underlying factors. So genetics is definitely one, and there are other physiological factors also. It is sometimes triggered by stress also, but there are some underlying physiological factors which would already be there. So if you're seeing symptoms, that means then it has to be fixed.
It has surpassed
yes,
that.
Yes. It could be that you have genetic, disposition, but you've had a calm life and everything has gone. Those stress triggering factors have never happened. It could be that too. But once you see symptoms, that means a treatment is necessary.
It's not working. Whatever you're doing is not working.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you said. Like even in US also, are there taboos here, or is it people have a little bit more open about it in general?
So I would think that in general in US there is much more acceptance, openness about it, and there is a focus on mental health. But on the other hand, I would still be being career oriented myself, that in workplace, I don't know how much it is still accepted. If you were to get two candidates, with all similar background and everything, but if you know that one person has, say, schizophrenia, is that going to affect things? I've seen.
That's the grey area. We're not sure.
It's a little bit of a grey area. I think it's not, because again, even here, I know few people who have still managed it and are doing well
successful.
But there is hesitancy in being too open about it, just for this reason that it might.
Which is not there for, like, if someone has BP or cancer or diabetes. People take it very very supportively, right? Oh, it's okay. But in mental health, we need to still. You feel like there still has to be awareness, or maybe education or something, so people feel like okay, it's okay to have
Yeah, and
some sort of
I would, in one way, I can see where this
Mm.
comes from, because obviously if it's not treated, or the person is not managing it well, it can impact your ability to get things done, right? So your productivity and performance.
Yeah.
But as long as somebody is aware of it and managing it, I think that there could be certain times there will still be down times. So with mental health, I've seen that even with medication, you will have a little bit of ups and downs.
Which
But
is
you
also,
can-
if you don't have mental health, you have your, like, if someone has, let's say I don't, example, let's say someone doesn't have a mental issue, even then you have days that you're not feeling
Exactly.
good
Physical
about
health also.
yourself.
So you
Yeah.
take days off and then you
Yeah.
work on it, and
or
you
even
manage
otherwise,
it,
even
right?
even like the days you're feeling like I'm having a bad day, right? Just
Yes.
like mental bad day, or I'm not
Mm.
happy today or something, right? But you're saying that that impacts our productivity, right?
Yes.
But if you have some issue already going on, it will affect it a little bit more. But then treated well,
Yeah.
treated
And the good thing now is that's the difference I see, that back then, definitely in India, it might have been different in the US at that time. The medication itself was not very great, even with medication, I would say that it wasn't very effective, and lots of changes, adjustments had to be done, which is still the case, because like I said,
yeah.
the impact is different, but definitely the advancement is much more. Now I see that even with people with these issues are able to manage their life pretty well.
Pretty
As
well.
long as you're aware and you say that yes, this is a problem, I need medication for it, and I'm going to manage things. It will come with some things that these are the things you should not be doing. This is to just
Yeah.
help the medication along.
Yeah.
Which is true for
Which is true for
physical
any-
medications also, right? You're not supposed to eat certain things or
Yeah.
not do certain things.
Yeah.
So I think now it has become, it's definitely much more easier
Much
to
more easier.
manage. So
So taking medication, if someone is there must be a family member who's making sure the medication is the patient himself or herself can manage it.
yeah, I think usually if they can, it depends on what stage. Usually when in the beginning, when you first discover it, it is very drastic. You definitely need family support
Support in
to
the
get through it. And when the medication starts also, you don't know how it's going to impact. And with all mental health issues, doctors go conservatively. You have to start with smaller doses. You have to move around things to figure out what is working.
What is working?
But if as a person, if you yourself take ownership and do want to, initially I would say the family definitely needs to
Definitely is
support
needed,
a
right?
lot.
Family or a
And
close friend or
yes,
somebody.
they need to support a lot and get that person confident enough and at that level that they can say, then they can
They'll
start
make-
taking a little more ownership.
And then regular meetings with the doctor, probably, because
Yes,
they can observe
yes.
the mood swings and stuff like that.
Yes.
If
And
everything-
once you get aware enough, you are able to tell yourself too, that this
I'm
right
feeling
now it's
okay.
not okay, or something
Well,
went
okay.
wrong,
Yeah.
or
Something. Yeah.
yeah, or these are the stress factors I need to avoid, so
Yeah.
that I don't have a relapse,
A relapse or
or an
something.
episode or something. So
Yeah.
you have to learn to manage it. It's again dependent on the individual, but usually if you reach a good level where the medication is suiting you, after that you should be able to.
Yeah. And more like a chemical balance, right? In the brain,
Yeah.
whatever
Yes,
whatever
yes.
the scarcity is, if a chemical is being provided by the medicine, right? So that kind of balances the
Yes.
equation.
Yes,
Right?
Yeah,
That's how probably it should be.
or sometimes it's how your body handles those chemicals also. For some people, the level might be fine for as any other person, but for your body, it's not the right level. So you have to adjust it. But,
Yeah. And I feel like being nowadays that we see a lot of being connected all the time, I remember when I was growing up, we could kind of quieten our brain and not manage things,
Yes.
even in normal
Yes.
life, like you are not getting along. You had an argument with a friend, example. So you just had an argument at work or school or wherever. You come back home, you're not connected anymore. You can have your space, you can say that, right? But nowadays, that's also getting harder for the new generation, especially. Don't you feel that? Like with cell phones and everything,
Yes.
too much of
Yes.
stress there's no like slow down, or there's no like, okay, this is my quiet time. I'm now going to talk to my friends.
Yeah, and so taking a break from your devices too. So
That is right.
just like your body needs rest. Why is there this thing of you need to sleep for a certain number of hours?
Yeah.
Because your body has to rest, rejuvenate, and
yeah.
you need to intermittent fasting. Look at that. That you
yeah.
have to give your gut
Oh,
time
yeah.
to heal and get. It's the same with your brain, right? So that's
a very good
that's
point.
an
We do it
own
for our body. Or we like, we need to not eat for 8 hours or 10 hours, but we never give our mental brain a break, right? So because always thinking, and then if you're not thinking, we're on the phone. If you're not on the phone, so that. So that is an important factor. I feel we never thought about it, right?
Yeah,
You should give it a rest.
Yes, which is, and it is an important. That's why sleep is so important for us, because it's not just physical, mental rejuvenation.
Maybe we are away from the phones too that time. Yeah. But even otherwise, I feel, again, my observation is that, again, we are not physicians, but our observation is that I feel like when we are, when too much of cell phone and too much of communication for the kids nowadays, it's getting harder for them to shut off any bad incident, because it always keeps coming back on different, like, social media. Some other friend will say, oh, did that happen or something. I feel like somehow it's getting harder for the new generation too. So that's why it's more important.
Yeah, it's harder to erase traces of anything that has
erase
happened.
traces, anything.
Yeah.
So that also needs to be, that so to make sure as parents or as family members, we all should have to be very aware, like everything is okay.
Yeah.
Because as you said, right, stress could be a
yes, it could be a triggering factor. We're
right?
seeing that among with children, of course, it is keeping that open line of communication also, making sure you know what is going on in their lives, right? And that they are communicating well with you. And of course, there's always a debate of how to regulate
how to get information,
screen time, media time, and all that. It gets harder harder once they get older. And when they are younger, you can say, okay, I'm the parent, I tell you what to do, and by the time they are teenagers, it's like, no, you cannot tell me all the time what to do. So then you can teach them the some tools, etc., and the right approaches, right? That how do you deal with social media, and the right way for pressures, and for you also to behave.
I think
after all, if something if you are not the perpetrator, there's somebody else is doing it, right? So making sure that your kids, your children do understand the pros and cons, and how to
consequences
handle
of it.
Consequences and how to handle it, right?
So based on what you said, mental issues are real based on your first-hand experiences with extended family. So it's not something कि ऐसे ठीक हो जाएगा. So most of the time people, and it needs intervention.
Yes.
So there is nothing wrong with intervention, because otherwise it can make matters worse if you don't intervene. Same as you said, like for blood pressure or diabetes, if you don't take the medication, then it can worsen your numbers or whatever, right?
And I think I would say that it's hard to do, but the earlier signs once you see, it's time to know that you should do something, begin to think about it and do something about it, and not think that, oh, maybe it's gonna go away,
It's gonna just go.
or something else will happen and hence it will go away. Because with that sometimes we feel that, oh, it's probably because of this one thing, or some triggering factor. I take that away and that will happen. Maybe it sometimes it might be true, but there's no harm in actually doing anything. Especially I feel out here there's enough support, right? There is for my mental health, right? Even if it's not seriously turning into an issue. No, there are counselors available for all of our health programs, right? If you feel that there is something wrong, do nothing. Just talk
And
to
they're
a
trained.
counselor. They are trained to talk to you. Get to the bottom of the issue and see whether it's really it's something that can be just talked out and just with behavior. A little bit of just therapy can be handled, or that. So that. Yeah,
That makes so much sense, because sometimes I feel like we think, okay, what if we start the medication, then we can never stop it, or if we take the kid to the therapist, he or she will always need it. But that's not the way, right? Sometimes they may get treated also, right? By like some sort of therapy might help, or in the beginning at least, right?
It depends, Sanjana. This space is very complex. So there are some psychiatric problems which will always require medication. They cannot be managed. Those are really serious problems, but they develop later in life, like schizophrenia or bipolar and all that. They will always need medication. Without that, you cannot. But there could be other things, which will. Again, this is a big... I'm not even I don't think I know even 5% of it. But there are some things that probably I know that they can be. There is behavioral therapy, etc. That can help with.
And you're right, because if the need is there, constant throughout life, it's okay to have the need and to get treated, rather than just hiding, or not talking about it, right?
Yes.
Because that can have adverse effects, right? If you're just hiding, or the family's not able to share, then it's hard for the child or whoever the person is. Even adults, they find it hard to talk to just like that. They need professionals, so they can talk to professionals.
Yes. That's true. Because again, like I said, with our approach, we might not know enough to guide the person.
And we might be biased too. I feel like sometimes someone talks to me, I might have another thought about it, but the professional is going to have very objective approach, right? So so those things are important. And as we've seen nowadays with social media and too much staying in communication, the kids, or even we're not getting enough break. So so it's good to kind of, even though this could just be, as you said, it could just be genetic or physiological, but sometimes you just
in general, I think I don't know, it does seem like, or maybe it's because of the awareness and we talk about it much more, that the anxiety levels even amongst youngsters and all seems to be much higher, right? So that way, it's how we teach them to manage it, and sometimes it will still require some intervention if it is getting it cannot be handled.
So nothing to be keeping it secret. It's good to talk about it. Like, it's good to share, and it's good to get professional help. That is the bottom line. It's okay to get it's good to get professional help, rather than hush the matter and just wait for the consequence to happen.
And hope that that somehow the problem will resolve. Sometimes I think I think that's what I've learned, that with mental health issues we tend to think that okay, we can manage it and resolve it if you take away certain stresses, or count just you as a family member or counseling, but that definitely doesn't work.
It might help a little bit, but not the whole thing, because there must be underlying factors, right? Physical factors, right? Is that and it could just be some chemical imbalance, which probably has to be addressed, right?
Yeah.
No, that really helps me now. I think it, a lot of people, individuals are looking for help. It's just like hard sometimes, because these areas, people still, it's still like kind of, there's still that apprehension, there's still that like, should we share with others or not? What if someone thinks otherwise, right? So that's good that, it's going to really help somebody who is like thinking and doesn't know where to go, and those kind of, because we always worry about, okay, what will people think,
That's the main thing, taboo we have to remove, about what will people think. Like I think you mentioned that in the beginning, you won't think too much about telling somebody, oh, I have BP, I have diabetes, and hence I cannot do this, right? But with these kind of issues, you'll be like, it's considered as if it's a character flaw or some problem with you.
Some problem with,
right? Which is not the case. Which is not the case.
Which is not the case. And it's like any other issue we have, and it can be treated if to the right professional and everything.
Yeah. It's just that this issue is only to do with your brain versus other parts of your body, right?
Yeah.
Because every other disease is some part of your body. So this is your brain. There is either the imbalance, or there are brain development itself might be different for different people. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
It is.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Veena. That was great. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Very, very helpful.
If you wanna talk about anything at all, then you know who to call. Just tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Just tell Sanjana.